Well, September is already taking its toll. It's back, my jumper. The rain doesn't stop. Welcome to Table Talk. Yes, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name, as most of you know, is Jason, and if you're a new subscriber, a massive welcome to the channel. Really nice to see you, and of course it's really lovely to see all of you back that come and visit this spot every week. So if you're new to the channel, this is the key pivotal video that I do every week that the rest of it all hangs off. All the plans and so on, they get shared here first. You want to know what's coming up on the channel, you want to know why something's not happening, this is the place to see what's going on and to ask your questions in the comments. You know, I get all sorts of comments, questions in the comments every week, not just in this video across here, but this is where we explain all. And if you catch this every week, you know exactly what's going on and you get an opportunity to get involved, help shape what comes out of the channel. And it's been a really eye-opening week for me this week. So before we get into everything else, let's just talk about the surveys. If you haven't seen the surveys, you need to go to my community page and you'll see some surveys that I've put out during the course of the last few days, the last week or so. This is to do with the subscriber takeover. So we're moving ever closer to 10,000 subscribers. I think we're a month, maybe a bit less away from that happening. And when that happens, you guys get to take over. What we air will be what you have chosen. So if you want to have a say in that, you need to go over and put your vote into those. I'm breaking it down. I haven't finished with the surveys, but I'm breaking it down so that each day you've got choices. So far you have decided what I'm going to be building over the 2 weeks, which is so far the Scharnhorst. That could change, but I suspect it's not going to. You've chosen what the first impressions is going to be on the first week. You've chosen what the first impressions is going to be on the second week. You've chosen what we've got as the Monday video on the first week, and chosen what we're going to build. Now, that could all change. If you all plough over and put different votes in, that could all change. But because I suspect those leading videos may well end up being the ones chosen, I've already started doing some of those videos. You know, it makes no difference to me in a way. I mean, it does put a little bit more pressure on because I'm still got normal running up to and after. But I'm just doing those videos a bit earlier so that if they do get chosen, they can go out. But it does include some potentially new videos that a new series that I've not started before, so that we'd have to kick off. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But yeah, please get involved and have a look at all of those and vote on them if you haven't done so. The eye-opening thing for me is the number of votes I've had for wooden model kits like this. We'll talk about this shortly. And I do get genuinely a lot of questions about HMS Fly. Usually, when's it coming back? And you know, if you follow this channel, this video, you'll know exactly when it's coming back and why you're not seeing any at the moment. I think the last one we put up was Christmas, and I haven't filmed anything since. I haven't touched it since because we've been working on the Endeavour. We had a little bit of a busy period with the B17 build. And one or two extras, the Bulldog and the Lifeboat. So all in all, it's been a little bit of a bumpy road in places this year, and that's meant that haven't done as much on the Endeavour as I'd wanted, and therefore we're still building it, but we're coming to the end. In reality, I've started gluing up the sails, so on Saturday morning that'll be what I will be doing. I'll be gluing up the sails, and the plan has always been to go back to the fly when we finish Endeavour, but once again we'll talk more about that later on. So yeah, I've been surprised at how popular the wooden kits are, and I don't know why really, because they've always been popular, but I just assume there's more people interested in plastic kits than wooden model kits. So maybe my subscriber mix is a little bit off kilter because of my HMS Fly videos. Yeah, don't know, but it's definitely popular with my subscribers, and it's just resetting some of my thinking about what we do going forward, the mix. Now, I have an eclectic mix on my channel. I like it like that. I try and appeal to everybody. I have a broad interest in modelling, so the channel reflects my broad interest, and so that's not going to change. We're not going to become a wooden ship modelling channel, partly because I don't think, despite the fact that I've done some serious wood modelling for Partwork before now on one of their forums, and I've got 7 complete builds under my belt over a 20-year period. I still don't consider myself particularly a master at it. I just enjoy doing it. So a bit like plastic modelling really. So it's not something that I'm going to change the format of the channel, but we might try and feature more on wooden shipbuilding than I've done previously. It's always been sort of and in addition we've got, you know, even if you think back to Wood Wednesdays when I was trying to do a little bit regularly, it was still a bit on the margins, and we might just bring it more into focus into the channel a little bit. So all things to think about. Anyway, let's talk about what happened last week, and that means we need to start with Monday's video. So we kicked off the week with Endeavour, and there's a bit of video missing, I think, which is the cleats. And I think what happened is I recorded it, and I think I put it in the wrong folder, so the video went out without it, and now it's out of sync and I can't use it in the next step, so we've sort of skipped the cleats. But basically you sand the bottom and glue them on. There you go, I've told you. She's coming along nicely. What we've got left to do is building up the mast. So I started that last Saturday, and then we're gluing up the sails, and we've got to then I think after that we're building the boom. So there's a hinge mechanism, and building up a boom and installing the mast, and then it's installing the rigging and the sails, and it's done at that point. But the instruction book gets you to building the mast only. All the rigging is then done on the plan, so that'll be a little bit time consuming, and I don't know whether that's going to be just one video because there's not a lot of rigging to do, or whether it's going to be 2 videos. I don't know yet, but theoretically we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos, possibly 6 left on the Endeavour, and then she's finished. So we'll talk about what might happen next when we talk about what's coming up. Then we had on Wednesday that beautiful, gorgeous disaster of a kit from Takom, the hood gun. If you've not seen it, I mean, it's such a giggle. I mean, what can I say? It looks more like HMS Hood's gun than Bismarck's guns do, but that's probably about as good as you could say about it. I mean, it's got a passing resemblance, is as close as you get. It's hardly a model kit, and I've thought about it since I've done the video, and one of the subscribers, Andy I think it was, said, bin it and do something fun to build. And I gotta say, that's where I've ended up getting to. So I'm going to be selling that because it's so much work to get it look like something. I even considered building the main gun and just cutting a section off the top of the barbette and discarding the rest of the kit. No, it's just a pile of junk. Poorly researched, not bothered. We'll put it in, put a label on it. We think the subject will be popular. We've done our surveys. We'll make something that looks a bit like it, and we'll sell bucket loads. It's just taking the mickey out of modelers, and I hate that. And so far, Takom have managed to produce really, really poor floaty things. And I don't know whether it's because they use this company and they're outsourcing the design to Snowflake or whatever they're called, but whoever's doing the research for their ships is not doing a good job. Now, I've not looked at the other guns in their range, but with the HUD being so poor, I assume the rest of them are. So, you know, the Yamato's gun's bound to have loads of mistakes in it if that's the quality of the research they do. So yeah, I was, you know, really disappointed because it took moments to actually find the truth. So it you know, just a complete and utter mess. And actually, if they'd gone to the HUD Association, they've got a history of helping model manufacturers with getting things accurate. They could have made something splendid. As it is, that's one I'm going to be selling. So if you're interested in it, let me know in the comments or drop me an email, and I'm sure we can come to an arrangement to ship it to you within the UK, because that's not one I'm going to be building now. So yeah, now we'll talk about stash sales a little bit later as well. Okay, so that gets us to the video last night, which all being equal should have been Scharnhorst. I'm recording this Wednesday lunchtime, so at this moment in time, I think it's already loaded up and ready to go, so there's no reason why it wasn't Scharnhorst. And you've nearly caught me up. I've been working on Scharnhorst feverishly, but there's so much scratch building to do to correct the inaccuracies that it's a slog, and I'm not getting enough content coming out, and that's beginning to worry me because you guys want to see more and more Scharnhorst, particularly over the takeover, and there might not be enough material. But we'll put something out about that in one of the surveys and see what you think. Okay, anyway, that's what we got up to last week. So, on the bench, well, I got a bit of extra time this weekend. We had our granddaughter round. She was grumpy. I decided that the modelling bench was a much better place to be than around a grumpy 4-year-old. So I got some extra time, and I spent my time on this. Yeah, you wouldn't believe how much time this has taken. There is so much wrong with this. So I think I took you through it last video or the video before, but what we've been doing, if I bring you up close, you can see we've been putting pipework on that was completely missing, electrical cables that are completely missing. We've mapped everything out. There is ventilators, 2 ventilators that go on there, completely missing, so I'm in the process of fabricating those out of chunks of white plastic. Yeah, so just so much wrong with it. And then when you get to the deck here, this area here, completely wrong. There's bulkheads where there shouldn't be bulkheads. The deck heights are wrong. It's a mess. And I think it's because it's Gneisenau, and they've assumed that sister ships are identical and that Scharnhorst and Gneisenau are pretty much identical. And it's not the case. And I don't know what it's like in German shipyards, but in the UK during the war, shipbuilding, there was a general design done, but the shipbuilder had freedom of expression around where things like ventilators, electrical conduit, trunking and that sort of stuff lay. So what would happen if you take a prime example is the A-class, Acasta class destroyers of 1936. So 6 destroyers in total, off the top of my head. It might have been 8, but I think it's 6. All to the same design, A-class destroyer, all to the same design, built in pairs, so 2 at one shipyard, 2 at another, 2 at another. Those 2 pairs would be identical. Those coming out of the shipyard would be identical. They would be genuine twins, but they would be different to the other 2 sets of 2 built at other shipyards, because they run things in different places. Put the, you know, they've got to put the steel deck into those dimensions, but where they punch the hole for the stove flue is different depending on who made it. So I assume there's an element of that in the German shipbuilding as well. I mean, I don't even know if they came out of the same yard or not. I don't know enough about it. But there's certainly some fundamental issues and some bits missing. So we're slowly scratch building it together, but you know, it's a very short bit of video for a long bit of time me doing it, and I'm just worried that we're not getting enough content out quick enough on Scharnhorst. But that's what I spent most of my time on. I got a bit frustrated with it, had to have a break. So when some of my extra time didn't go on that, it went on this, which looks very dramatic, doesn't it? But it, you know, this was about an hour's work doing this. So this has been done because there's a lot of votes for wooden ship modelling for absolute beginners, and we're going to base that on the Vanguard Models Sherborne kit that we talked about last week. So this is her with some of her hull, well, most of her hull framing done. I have to say, it's gone together beautifully. And if you've built wooden ships before, you'll have already noticed there's an awful lot of bulkheads, far more than you usually get, which means you don't have to do any filling or anything like that. You've got everything you need for the planking stage. And the planking stage is pretty much just this, from this deck bit down, so about 12 planks. So yeah, so I decided I needed to knock that together in case that's the video that I have to do for you guys. So we filmed an introduction, we talked about basic tools and products that you need to get going, and then we start building this. And the idea is we'll build this kit, we'll take you through it, share any hints and tips, and we'll end up with this finished, and you can build along. Buy this kit, build along with me, that's the plan. Now, if the vote changes, we're still going to do this. So when the Endeavour's finished, we will bring Fly back. But we'll work on Fly every other Saturday, and we will work on, for absolute beginners, every other Saturday. And so you'll see alternate videos coming out, which means I can increase the amount of content coming out around wooden model ships, whilst not impacting on how much time I spend on my plastic modelling, which is, you know, the main build being Scharnhorst and the little sub projects that we run alongside it. So that means I'd have 4 builds on the go, 2 plastic, 2 wood, but spending more time on the plastic than the wood, which is often needed because you're not generally going outside of what's in the box as a rule with wooden kits, whereas you absolutely are with plastic kits, or I do at least. So yeah, so that's what came out of the bench, and to be honest, if I hadn't had those that poll saying we're going to want to have models for absolute beginners, I probably would have just taken a break and gone and read a book for an hour or something, and then come back and done a bit more Scharnhorst, which is what I ended up doing. After I'd done this, I came back to the Scharnhorst, and we were straightening wires and what have you. But there's a lot of time looking at reference material, So all the little lamps and the little boxes that I've put on, you can probably see all the little white dots on there. They're all cut out of plastic card, but finding their positions and all that sort of stuff and the referencing is what takes time. So it is progressing, but it's not creating a lot of content, and it is a bit of a concern. But yeah, that is what we did on the bench. Right then, stash ad time, and this is what we're going to talk about today. Let me move this and this out of the way. So, what you're looking at is what a lot of people refer to as a Bren gun carrier. It's commonly known as a Bren gun carrier because it carried Bren guns as well, in one of its roles at least, but its actual proper name is Universal Carrier. This I've purchased out of my birthday money, so I've cleared myself out of that now. So this isn't a channel owned kit, it's a me owned kit. And originally I ordered it, both this and the separate engine, which is about 12 quid. But they contacted me and said, look, the engine's actually out of stock. So they've refunded for me. Nobody appears to have the engine in stock in the UK. I'm being told by a couple of places that they're expecting restocks in December. So if you've got one of these and you really want the engine, you've got to hang around until December. But having looked at the kit, I think I'm probably not going to bother with the engine now and save myself the 12 quid. Yeah, it's a nice looking kit. You don't get the figures, you don't get the engine. They're selling those separately for those that want them, I guess. Keeps the price point down on the main kit. But it's 1/16 scale, Gecko models. So yeah, and I think other than the figures that we've currently got on the Tempo diorama, this is my first Gecko vehicle, I think. So yeah, so I will be filming the first impressions of this soon when I get a moment. And for show you on here, some nice imagery of it built up, or CAD imagery I'm guessing. So yeah, it seems to be quite a popular kit. I know a couple of channels have been talking about it. So yeah, they seem to be selling fast, but it's a nice small vehicle. So the whole thing's not much bigger than a 135 Tiger II tank, to be honest. It's similar sort of size, I guess. A little bit bigger, obviously, but not massively bigger. And it's got individual track links with pins and stuff. So there's things you can do with it. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I've always thought it was quite a strange vehicle, really. It's very low down, very low profile, but it was in service until 1948. So I think it was in service for about 12 years, from 1936. So it's an interwar vehicle that got used in so many different guises, moving personnel, moving ammunition, towing light artillery. It did all sorts of jobs. So I'm sure Gecko can re-release this several times with all sorts of different markings for it, and there's lots of opportunity for the aftermarket to bring out different decal markings for it. So should be interesting to see where that goes. And because I bought that, I had to buy something else to go with it. Found that online for £9, so I thought, why not? And it takes you through the whole history of the vehicle, and it's got some line drawings and things like that in, and gives you some ideas. Lots of original photographs, tells you all about it. So yeah, and lots of close-up photographs with all sorts of detail, which will be handy when I come to build the model. So I was quite pleased to have found that. So that's why I know so much about it, 36-48. I knew virtually nothing about it, to be honest, other than of its existence. And I'm, about quarter, maybe a third of the way through this. Quite an interesting read, actually. Right then, modelling news. Let's start with Telford. So tickets are now on sale for those of you who are thinking about going to Telford this year. I've bought mine. I'm going for both days this year. First time ever I've been for both days. So I've managed to book a hotel up the road a little bit. So I think it's about 12 minutes away. So that's nothing, is it? So I'm travelling down on the Saturday morning. I think, is it the 9th and 10th, something like that, I think so, of November. So I'm travelling down on the Saturday morning, staying over Saturday night, and then going back when I'm done Sunday. Day one, Saturday, that's my shopping day. So I'm going to be going around all the stalls, getting some stuff for the channel for us to review and have a look at, anything interesting I might find. I tend to buy things like my plastic magic and stuff there because I'm not buying shipping costs. So I generally won't be buying any more consumables until I get to Telford now. So usually in the summertime I stop buying consumables and wait until I get to Telford, unless I absolutely got to have it and it's stopping a project, obviously. So yeah, that'll be my plan. So lots and lots of shopping. I don't know what other people think, but I think in recent years we've moved away from being able to get a bit of a bargain sometimes in the way of kit purchases at Telford. I mean, last year I got stung with that horrific invader. So I think I've come to the conclusion that you don't really get a bargain, and quite often at the show they're more expensive. You know, the people that are selling lots and lots of second-hand kits, generally they're more expensive than if you bought them somewhere else, even eBay. But what they sometimes have is a kit you've been looking for and couldn't find. They sometimes have that. So there are people like last year, Jadlen were there, for example, and so, you know, they're selling current kits at their current prices, and you're not paying for postage, and you're walking away with it instantly. So, you know, from that point of view, if there's something new that you want, that's a good place to buy it. You've just got to trundle around with it. But last year I walked in, and the very first thing I did was buy that Thunderbolt kit from Mini Art, which I've subsequently sold. So yeah, that's my first day shopping. Day two, I'll be there with the camera. We're going to take the video camera that I use for videoing this. We're going to do more videoing than we normally do. So it'll be less photography, more videoing. It will allow me to then pick up the atmosphere of the place perhaps better than I've done in previous years, and then we'll take some photographs as well and edit it all together. So that's sort of the plan for day two. At 2 o'clock on both days I plan to do meet and greet near the Airfix stand. So Airfix always grab this spot in the corner of the hall. And then they've got their tables out for the building and stuff, and they have a big area, and it's just on the edge of where you can buy really expensive non-nutritious foods if you wish. So it's probably the biggest space area in the whole hall where you're not getting cramped in with people. So 2 o'clock in that area, and anyone who wants to come and say hello, you're welcome to do so. It means that you're not sort of looking out for me if you want to say hello in the crowds, which is a couple of years ago people were saying, oh, I looked out for you but I missed you. If you know where I'm going to be at a certain time, then you can come and say hello if you wish to. And one or two people did last year, which was lovely. So yeah, very nice to talk to people and put faces to names and that sort of stuff. So, you know, one or two people stopped me last year and I went, oh, hello, and I really love your channel and stuff like that, which was lovely. So more of that to come this year. We'll because I'm there for 2 days, I don't have to rush. So you're sort of rushing around and filming things quickly because you really want to focus on buying stuff. This way I can, you know, the displays are not going anywhere. So I can focus on the displays on the second day and not be worried about what's being sold and things selling out, because I've already done that bit. So we'll do the shopping and not worry about looking at the displays. Just go around the shops, and then on the second day we can film it, and that'll be good. Which means that I can probably go a little bit earlier on the Sunday. When I'm done, I'll just go. So it might be that we get to 2 o'clock, I do the meet and greet with people for half an hour or so, and then I'm gonna trundle off possibly at that point and get myself home. So because it's a good hour and a half to nearly 2 hours journey for me, and to get there at opening, I need to be setting off early because of the traffic jams there. So you've got to allow a certain amount of time extra. I'm not going to tell you how much that is, because then you'll all do it and then my traffic will be bad again. But yeah, that's my first bit of news. If you weren't aware, tickets are now on sale. So you go to, let me just bring it up and remind me. I can never remember what it's called. So if you put in Scale Model World or IPMS UK and get to their page, there is a little link under Scale Model World where it says click here to go to online booking site, which is a separate site, and you can book your tickets. 25 quid for an adult to get you in for the day. So yeah, there we go. So that is my plan. I'm not sure that I'm going to renew my membership this year or not. I usually have to renew it just before, and that of course gets you in free. But I'm not sure that I'm gonna do it this year because the magazines aren't worth it. I get nothing out of it. So the only reason to do it would be to get into the show. But anyway, I've got tickets now, so I probably won't renew this year. Right then. Let's have a look at what else we've got in the news. Well, in modelling news, it's all a little bit boring and flat, really, in terms of what we've got coming up in the way of kit releases. There is one thing, though, that I am absolutely definitely getting. I've been looking forward to it since their catalogue came out, so we'll talk about that at the end. But ICM have a few new kits coming out. So there's a Humvee, yet another Humvee. This one's got the cargo body, which is a bit different. I'm not sure I've seen that before. So that gives you some options when you're diorama building, but you know, hey ho. They've also got a German passenger car out. You know, it looks nice in the red and everything. It's the cabriolet version, but it's basically a re-release of what they've already done as a staff car in black. So you can just buy the staff car one and paint it red. Mini Art are bringing out quite a nice ammo loading scene. Soviet replenishment of a tank destroyer there. One of their classic sort of big kits. So you get 2 model kits plus the base and the telephone cable post and what have you. 6 figures, road signs, ammo boxes. So yeah, and inevitably it'll have some photo etch and stuff. So that's probably quite a nice little big set if you're interested in that, a little diorama in the box. But this is the one that I'm excited about. The Junkers F-13 early production. It's the second aircraft from Mini Art, and with the exception of the clear canopy, they actually did quite a good job of the Thunderbolt. So I'm really looking forward to this because we're not going to have the canopy issues with this because it's actually clear glass going in, and Mini Art are well used to doing that. And it has that lovely corrugated texture that Junkers were quite famous for in that interwar and early war period. So yeah, and quite an unusual looking aircraft. I mean, look at that exhaust sticking out of the top there. So yeah, yeah, I think it's really nice. 148. I've seen some CAD pictures of what it should look like. So it does include an engine. It's got photo etched seat harnesses, so they're doing a really good job of it. So yeah, I quite like the look of that. Going back to ICM, they've got some figures out to go with their 148 Sally, which is you know, nice set of figures. Usually ICM figures are pretty good as well. And then they've released this with 2 tank kits in it. You know, something and nothing really, isn't it? You know, it's another Panther and another Tiger 2. Some figures have been released from Tamiya. My understanding is they're pretty poor. In one way or another, they're not really great figures. They're a bit lackluster. I think star of the show, if there is one, is probably this motorcycle and sidecar. They've had motorcycle and sidecar out before, so I don't know whether this is complete new tool or just putting a new pack together, because they've had signs out before, and certainly those signs I recognise, which I think came from the old sign pack from the 70s. But certainly the figures look like they might be new, even if the vehicle is not. So yeah, I'm not sure that I've seen the KS600 before. I think the other sidecar was a Zundap, so might be all new tool. But you know, nothing much, and that's it. That's it for modelling news. We need something a little bit more exciting, don't we, for next week? Hopefully, fingers crossed. Right then, the week ahead. Well, we are kicking off on Monday with, oh right, yes, the review of the Mobius 2 airbrush. We talked a little bit about this a week or two ago. If you're interested in upping your skills and you're sort of intermediate airbrusher and you want something that focuses on detail, then you'll be interested in that video, I think. Just drop the paint cap. And then on the Tuesday we've got a bonus video which is about the stand. There's not much to say, so it didn't really stand alone as a video, but I needed to say something about it as they've given me one to review. So it's just a short video. We pop it in on the Tuesday. On the Wednesday, you've got, oh yeah, we've got quite a nice vehicle kit. Yeah, I really enjoyed reviewing that, and I think I'll be getting some more of their kits, so that's worth a look. And then on the Friday, we'll be kicking off the first part in the Tempo build. So the diorama with the Tempo and the Highlander figures. So we'll be kicking off the first part of that. Now on the bench, it's the week to be working on the Tempo, but actually I'm not going to. I'm going to do more on the Scharnhorst because I'm so concerned about material for that. I still have my fallback now where I can go and focus on those Bolt and Paul Defiant videos that we talked about last week. So I do have a gap filler if I need to, but I'd rather just push a bit more on the Scharnhorst for now, because I've got some Tempo material, enough for probably the second video, because that's also stuck in a little bit of a rut. The figure painting takes time, for example. So yeah, we're in a period where the Scharnhorst is having a lot of detail work, which is scratch building. The Tempo needs a bit of scratch building, pipe work and stuff. The figures need detail painting, and then I've got to think about the material for the takeover. So it's a bit intense, really. All good fun though. So that's what's going to happen on Sunday. Saturday I'll be finishing the video I started doing on the Endeavour, because the video covers sorting out tapering the mast and then sorting out the sails. So it's quite time consuming. I didn't have enough time last Saturday to do it all. So I'll be finishing that. So yeah, plus it's Wednesday now, so I'll get some modelling time on Friday night and do some more on the Scharnhorst then, and I might push forward Sherborne a little bit as well. So that's what's on the bench, what's coming up really. Yeah, I think a big shove on the Scharnhorst and try and get ahead will be helpful. So, other news then, and not really a lot to talk about, because we're getting to that time of year where we start hunkering down and doing less and less. The garden is sort of 2 or 3 weeks away from dropping all its oak leaves in. They're starting to see them fall, but I wait until the tree's just finished. Otherwise, you're doing it and the day later they're all back again. It's a pointless exercise. So we'll wait until it completely fills the garden and there's nothing left on the branches, and then we'll shovel it all about. So yeah, bit of a disappointing year with the garden this year. The vegetables pretty much did nothing. I've got some cabbages there, and they've not even formed cabbages. It's just been a terrible year. We've had virtually no sunshine. Some plants have thrived. We had a really big nettle growing really well in the back at one point. But yeah, some things have thrived, but most things have not been too happy with this year's weather. And sort of the one thing that's really grown out of control is the bamboo. The bamboos loved it this year for some reason. So yeah, so there's not much going on there. Whilst the weather's still looking like it's sort of semi-okay at the weekends, I am trying to get out and do a bit of walking with Paula. So at the weekend we're going walking as a reservoir. So Saturday afternoon, or this afternoon, we'll be out taking her for lunch and then going for a wander. We've not been before. It's up near Blackburn, I think. So not that far away for me, but we've never been before. So and apparently it's in top 10 romantic places in Lancashire. So we're going to do that this weekend anyway, so that'll be nice. And yeah, it's starting, like I say, because of the weather changes, you can't get out and do much, which is great because I can spend some more time here. But I do, you know, the weekend is really my only opportunity of doing any modelling, but it's also the only opportunity I get with the family as well. So I do like to try and do things when I can. So I might take the kids to the zoo. They're quite fond of Blackpool Zoo. It'll be quieting down now because summer holidays are over. Less people will be going. People are starting to think about money for Halloween and Christmas. So this is usually a good time to go to the zoo because it's just that bit quieter. So yeah, we'll probably do that in a week or two, and it gets us out of the house and doing something while we still can. And you know, the animals don't go anywhere, do they? So that's worth doing. So yeah, it's sort of making plans. One thing that is coming back though is my attempt to make my own bread, and I will update you on that because I've learned more about bread this week. I was watching, as many of you know, earlier this year I joined an organisation called Zoe. I'd been told by the doctor that I had IBS and that I just had to put up with it. I've been for a full body scan and all that sort of stuff, and they can't find anything. Anyway, it turns out that I don't have IBS. My diet that I thought was healthy has turned out to be not healthy because of processed foods. And so I've moved from being, I used to be a butcher, started out my career as a butcher, so I've moved from being a very much focused on meat with vegetables on the side to vegetables and maybe some meat with it, and whole foods, and yeah, some things that I really like that aren't good for me are now demoted to being treats. And increasingly I'm not interested in them. And what I found really interesting over this time is it's a bit like, I understand it is for people that give up smoking, and I've never been a smoker, but a lot of people say when they give up smoking they get the sense of taste back. And I had a burger the other day, a good quality burger. You know, we ate out and had a good quality burger, not McDonald's or something, and it was so bland. It had no flavour because I'm so used to this vibrant palette of flavours from all the vegetables that I eat. So yeah, so I've been learning more and more about bread, and pretty much all the bread that I was buying that I thought was okay isn't okay, to the point where, you know, I was buying fresh bread that's been made in an in-store bakery, and I now realise that that's made in a factory and frozen, and all they're doing is defrosting it and toasting it. So that's a change, because when I used to work in a supermarket, they were actually making it on site overnight and proving it and baking it and everything, which apparently is no longer the case. So unless you're going to find an artisan baker, you need to bake your own bread, really. Otherwise you've got no nutritional value. I've learnt so much. So the sourdough is back on schedule. We have decided, well, I've decided to buy a starter rather than make my own, because that's where I was struggling, and go from there. So hopefully I'll have something to show you next week. We will see. But that's where I am. That's what's happening outside of there. My journey to gut health has been a real eye-opener, and I'm a very different person in terms of what I eat now than I was this time last year. And as a result, I sleep better, I have more energy, I've got better skin, and a whole host of other stuff I don't want to share has improved. But yeah, there's so many benefits because I'm not eating food that's been manufactured and ruined and lost all its nutritional value. So yeah, I've enjoyed that. So yeah, we'll see where bread making goes. But it's never going to overtake modelling as a hobby, never in a million years. Right, special people and shout outs. Well, there wasn't any. No donations last week. So for those of you who are new, everybody else knows this, and you can skip past this part if you like. But if you're new to the channel is self-funding. The things that we review for first impressions, and the tools and the products that we review, they're all purchased from the revenue that's generated from the channel. So that is the adverts generate a tiny amount of revenue. Donations is the main source of revenue, and also t-shirts and things. So you'll see that I've got a little shop. You can go in and buy t-shirts. I'm gonna revamp them soon and look at putting some different designs out and retire some the older ones. So there's t-shirts and things there, aprons, cups and that sort of stuff. They all produce a small revenue as well, but you add it all together and that's the pot of money that I have to spend to run the channel. So if that dries up, then what we can do on the channel, the only thing we can really do on the channel is build models, and we can't do all the other good fun stuff that we do around there. So yeah, so the best way to donate to the channel, if you like what the channel's done, if I've done something you really enjoyed or was really helpful or in any way, then do consider giving £1 or £2, $1 or $2 to the channel. I don't do membership and subscriptions because I don't want you to be paying for something and you've forgotten that you're paying. I'd rather you gave a donation as and when you can, if you can. Otherwise, it's free for you to view and enjoy. But the best way to donate is with my PayPal. I'll leave a link below. You don't have to have PayPal to use it. And that way the channel gets 100% of it. Most other ways of giving me money, super thanks and so on, then somebody somewhere is taking a cut, and YouTube takes a hefty old cut. So rather than doing that, shove it into PayPal, and That way you can send me a message and I know exactly who it is. And if you do donate, I will shout out, give you a shout out by name at this spot on unless you tell me you don't want to, on my Table Talk video. So there you go. No channel shout outs this week. I've done the ones that I'm currently watching over the last couple of weeks. I've got some videos to catch up on some back catalogue. I've been catching up. I fell behind with the model ship, which I generally watch every day. So Ron Calvary's channel. One of the reasons why I started doing this was because of his channel. And he's still working through his 148 submarine, but you know, he's doing lots of other stuff in there, and the format has changed a little bit over the years, but it's still quite interesting to see his progress, and it's a little window on a different part of the world for me, so I quite enjoy it. Okay, so there we go. I think that pretty much brings us an end to this week, so thank you very much for joining me. We will be back next week with another Table Talk when we should be a bit closer to 10,000 subscribers and have a better picture of what that takeover is going to look like. So until then, you enjoy your modelling. I will see you around in the comments and hopefully on the next build next Friday. So thanks very much for looking in, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and that way you won't miss my first impressions, my tool reviews, my product reviews, and any of my builds, including wooden model kits as well as plastic. It's all free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.